This is the Mulberry bow blank that has buffalo horn tips on it now. Shadow wants to say hello. Good morning, it's October 12th, and I'm going to till that Mulberry bow blank that I put the buffalo horn tips on last night. But I wanted to talk about them. I'm waiting to 8 o'clock. I got 15 minutes to kill before I go outside. I don't like to start projects before 8. And the coffee makers, I had drip coffee makers where you pour the water in the back of the pot. And if you have one of these, get a flashlight and look in there and see how nasty they get over time. I have a bottle brush. I thought it was in here to show you, but I don't know where it is. It must have got put away. But I use soap and water and a bottle brush and hold it upside down, and I spray inside to clean it out because it gets nasty. And at one point, like maybe once a year and a half, I just throw it in the garbage and buy a new one. So I remember when I was a kid, and I'm an old guy, my mother had a Farberware percolator. So what we did was I bought one again, and this way, when you're done with it, you have a clean pot inside. It's nice and clean, and you don't have to worry about any contaminants growing there or anything, and it makes a beautiful cup of coffee. And we just put it on the timer, and the timer comes on in the morning, whatever time you want, and we set it for 2 hours. A 2-hour window, and it goes off. And it works out well, and I just figured I'd share that with you. Well, I'm having my breakfast coffee, English muffins, some butter and jelly for breakfast before I get out and start working. Good morning. It's Sunday, October 12th, and last night I put buffalo horn tips on this Mulberry bow blank, and this morning I cut string grooves, I shaped them, and what I have here is a long tillering string, and I put it in the center of the tip, to the center of the tip. And as I look down the bow always favors one side. It favors this side. So this up here towards me is going to be the top limb. I'm going to mark the top limb and put the tillering marks on. You can see the nice back set we have. I have my tillering marks. I put a mark a 1/2 inch from the bottom of the string groove to the fade out. They're equal on both sides, a 1/2 inch. I found a center mark. I put a center mark. I tested this bow. Remember, before I started cooking it or drying it, it had 40% moisture and 18%. So now it has 16 in the riser and 8% in the limbs. I rounded the edges this morning. All the edges are rounded. And we're going to try and make a bow. And hopefully, like I said, I never worked with this before. Hopefully it'll cooperate and bend, and we will make a bow without it breaking. All right, new adventures. If you look, it's overcast, it's windy. I hope this don't blow down. We have a northeaster. The northeaster is slowly coming up the coast towards Long Island, and it should be a little delayed, so I should be able to get this tillering done on this bow today. So what we're going to do right now is just pull this down to a little below level. Oh, it's very heavy. All right. This bow wood is very heavy. It's going to make a very heavy bow. And now that I actually got a string and pulled it down a little, I got to remove some material to get it to bend more. All right. It's probably like a 80-pound bow right now. So I got to take a little bit of material off. I took 20 strokes or so off each limb with the belt sander. Has a little aggressive belt on it because it's fairly new. And we're going to take a look and see how the bend is. We got it flexing a little bit now. And we can see it bends from here to here, and then it stops. And then it bends from here to here, and it stops. So in here, we got to make it bend. Let's check out this limb. Okay, we got a little bit of a bend going on here, and then it stops about here. And then from here to here, we got to remove material. So we're going to remove some material back and forth. We're just starting, and we're not going to go down any further until we get the bends nice. Okay, I removed the material from the spots. Let's check it out, see how it's coming along. This is a tillering string. It's a loose string. We go down to this, what appears to be like 18-inch mark. It's just a reference point. Don't look at the siding in reference to the bow because everything's out of whack. This post moves. Okay, so I just make sure that the top of the actual back of the riser, the part that faces away from you, is level, and I pull it down level. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, we took a big portion out. We still have more to go. We got like 5/8. Let me get the pencil out. Now the goal here is to get a bend, a nice even bend from here to here. We want to distribute the weight of this bow evenly throughout the limb so it don't break, okay? And this is just a reference. The center line that I put there is just to see how much of a bend we have, and is not as important. We have 5/8. It's not as important as the even distributed bend, okay? So let's see what we got over here now. Whenever you do something to one limb or the other limb, it affects the other one. All right, so let's look here. Okay, if you look here, we still have to remove more material. We got a little bit of a bend going on, but we need material moved from here to here. Get a little high spot here too. Okay, let's take off a little material. Let's see how much of a gap we have here. Okay, we have 3/8 versus 5/8, and we're going to remove a couple of extra strokes off of this after we get those high spots. Okay, this is only the third time we're going back and forth. Let's see how we're doing. Well, we're getting a nicer bend, and you can see the low spot move down from here to here. So right in here we need to correct it a little bit, okay? And let's just see what we got going on here. We got 5/8 plus. Let's check out over here. This side was stiff. It wasn't bending as much. But let's see what we got. Okay, we got a nice bend going on here. It's sort of, we got a low spot right here. From here to here, you can see a little dip. And then from here to here, we got to take off a little bit. Okay, so let's see what the gap is here. So we got to know how many strokes we got to take off. We got a 1/2 inch now. Okay, we got to go down a little bit more. Okay, like I said, the bend is the most important thing. Distributing the stress and pressure throughout the limbs. I don't know if it's going to make a heavy bow. I don't know if it's going to make a lighter bow. I don't know if it's going to make a slow bow or a fast bow. This is the first time working with this wood. We'll see. Okay, we took off those dips, those low spots. Let's see what we got. Okay, I really like that. We got a really nice, this is a perfect bend. This limb we got perfect now. Okay, let's just see for the heck of it what kind of a gap we got. We got 5/8, okay, 5/8. Let's see what we did over here. Okay, from here to here is beautiful. And we got a tiny low spot right here. And what do we got? We got almost 5/8, and we want the top limb a little more. So just right here, we're going to remove a little more material. Okay, remove some material. This side was the perfect side. Let's just see. Beautiful. 5/8. Look at that. 5/8. We're going to pull it down another inch. Still a beautiful bend. Still a beautiful bend. Put it down another inch. Nothing jumps out. Still good. Just so you know, I rounded the edges too. Every time because this is an unknown wood to me, I round the edges nice so there'll be no splintering. Okay, let's check this out. Look, we got a beautiful bend there. Let's go down another inch. Let's hope the back of the bow holds up and we can make a bow. Let's hope that the back of the bow, with some of its imperfections, and it's the first time I'm using this, will make a bow without breaking. And if it does break, it's not disappointing to me. I mean, it's disappointing, but it's a learning experience, all right? But let's see. I think it's going to make it. Okay, let's check that bend out. You can't ask for a better bend, right? Get out of the way. You can see. Nice bend. Let's just check the distance now, okay? Now that we're putting some more pressure on the wood, we're going to check the distance. This is the top limb. We're hoping to have this top limb 1/4 of an inch more positive tiller. And what we have is we have 1 1/8 inches, it looks like. 1 1/8 inches. And let's see what we got here. Beautiful bend. We got 1 1/8 inches. It's stayed even. It's pretty nice. We're going to go down another inch. We got to go down to here to try to get a string on this piece. That's quite a ways to travel yet. Let me see. Let me see where... actually to here. All right, we don't have too far to go. Pull it down another inch. It's just looking so good. Let me work it a little bit. Let's just check it out. Nice. Everything's beautiful. Let me make sure this is squared. Looks squared to me. There's absolutely nothing here that jumps out. We got such a nice, evenly distributed bend. The pressure of these limbs are distributed throughout the bow. Look at that bend, right? A little bit more. A little bit more. I'm going to work it a little bit and then put it down another inch. Okay, it looks pretty good so far. On the back of the bow around 1 knot. I left it a little high. Hopefully it'll be fine. Let's just check it out. We're about ready to put a string on it. Isn't that crazy? That didn't take long at all. The micro tillering. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bend. Let's just see what we got here now, since we're going to put a string on this. We got 1 3/8 inches. Let me redo this again here. We got 1 5/8 inches. And now that we're almost at the point where we can put a string on, and there's a lot of pressure on this limb. It looks like this limb is bending a little bit more now. So we're going to check it out. You know, it's under a little more pressure. So let's see what we got. We got 1 3/8 inches here. And then we got almost like a hinge developing here. So let's see what we got here. I see it bending a little more there. And sometimes it's hard to tell because we have bumps on the back, you see? So we got here 1 5/8 inches, okay? So let's look at this bend and see what I got to do to correct this little situation we got here. Okay. So from here to here, we got to remove some, we got to make this bend in here. Okay, so we got to bend, and from here to here, we got to make it bend. We got to remove a little material in here, okay? And yes, this is bending a lot more. Now let's look over here and see what we got to do to make this bend more. Kind of got a nice bend all over, so we're going to just remove material all over. All right, little work on it. See what happens? You go down 1 inch at a time, and then all of a sudden something shows up. Okay, that's interesting. Remember how before I heat treated it, the limbs were a little out of alignment? Well, now that there's no pressure off, you can see that one dropped a little bit. Do you see? So we're going to correct it. We're going to correct it now and see what it looks like. So there's a couple of things going through my mind now. Whether this would benefit from another fire hardening. But I got to tell you, one time I forget what kind of wood it was. Maybe it was another holly bow I had. That after I fire hardened it and I had to till it, I shot it for a while. And it had a dip in the limb. And it corrected it with fire hardening. And after shooting it for a while, I noticed one day, I strung it up and I noticed the limb that was bent, sort of like that. That bend came back, even though it was fire hardened. And in my mind, I was like, well, you just can't beat Mother Nature sometimes. The bow's meant to be that way. It's meant to be that way. How long will it last? So all these thoughts are going through my mind now. So what I did with that particular bow was I put the string on it and I tilled it even with the string. And I made a lower pound bow and it shot fine. And the tiller, according to the string, was perfect. So, you know, it was cooked. It was fire hardened. It was dried for an hour, cooked for 3 hours. Do I subject this to more fire hardening and then have a chance that it comes out? in time, you know, after shooting it for a while, like maybe it'll hold that bend, and then after a while of shooting it for, you know, a year or so, will this bend come back? Or should I just accept that Mother Nature has a bend in this bow and tiller it to this bend right now? So I'm thinking I'm going to try and get it to bend even now before I put a string on it, and I'm going to work on it a little further and then decide. Meanwhile, I'm going to put the long string on and try to get it even with this dip in the. So this is what I'm working on. This bow here, we're going to tiller according to the new bend that popped up. I took off material on each side. And we're going to go look over here. And this side's going to need work. Okay, we've got to get this side to bend more, so we're going to take off material. We're going to get this side bended more from in here. We're going to get a nicer bend in here. And we're going to get a little bend from here too. Okay, we're going to get this side to bend like that. So it's crazy how things just happen, but we're going to work with it to see what we come up with. It's going to be a low pound bow. Come back a little to look at it. And that bottom limb is bending 1/4 of an inch more. We need that to go like a 1/2 inch more. And you can see on the outers, it's got a little bit more of a bend on the outers on that one. So we got to make the outer bend a little bit more on this one. All right, we'll work on that and see what we come up with. Okay, so I went with the flow of the bent limb. And I got 1 3/4 inches. An 1 3/4 inches. And what I think I'm going to do now is, I don't even know if it's worth it or not, but before I put a string on it, just the way the bow is here, look. The way the bow is right now, I'm going to use a heat gun and just heat the limbs up. I'm going to heat temper it the way it is. All right, I'm not going to try and correct this. I'm just going to heat it up the way it is. And then we're going to come back and check it and decide what we're going to do, just to make it a little more stronger. Okay, I'm going to start 8 minutes on the outer, 8 minutes on the inner. And we're going to see whether I'm going to go longer or not. We're going to do it on both limbs. Okay. This limb here has been treated for 10 minutes inner, 10 minutes outer. You can see a little color change. This one hasn't been done yet. I'm going to work on this one next. I just want to show you that as I heat tempered this, 10 minutes inner, 10 minutes outer, look, we got some backset that came back. Okay, and what I decided to do is now, so this was heat tempered. I'll show you the belly of the bow, the part that faces your belly. Okay, you can see a little darker color here. See, that's from the heat gun, 1 inch away. Okay, and what I decided to do now is we have that northeaster approaching. I feel the moisture in the air, it's coming. And I'm going to put this inside, and I'm going to fire harden this one more time. One more time, another day. Okay, sometimes you got to stop. Think about what you want to, how you want to approach it. And in the future, I think when I'm not going to be in such a rush. You know, you see a lot of videos, they make bows, you make bows really quick. And I have made bows pretty quick too. But when you got a piece of wood that you've got a log and it's got a lot of moisture in it, I'm going to shape it up like a bow blank, I think, and put it away for like a week maybe, and then fire harden it. Just to let it, you know, check the moisture content. If it's 40%, like this was 40%, I don't think I ever had one 40% before. Um, you know, if it's, if it's less, then I can cook it early. But at 40%, I think I would let it sit for a few days in the house before I put it on the back set jig and fire hardened it. All right, no more 40% wood. It's going to be a little less before I put it on the back set jig. So that's it for today. You'll see me cooking it. I won't go through the whole cooking thing. I won't drive you crazy, but I'll show you it being cooked, and I'll show you done and hydrated, and we're going to go back to this tillering tree and try another day. Sometimes you have to back up. At least the northeaster isn't as bad as they said it'd be. It's not that bad. We got to wait a few days for the storm to pass, but it's on the back set jig, all ready to be fire hardened thoroughly. Just so you know, I hydrated that mulberry several times after it came off the fire hardening jig with a wet rag, dripping wet rag. I did it a bunch of times, and it's now in the house, and now I'm cooking the next log. But the mulberry is going to be ready for tillering tomorrow, since I hydrated so much, and we're going to leave it till the next day so the moisture will sort of seek its level, all right, throughout the wood. And we'll see what happens. If I have time, we're going to tiller it tomorrow. Good morning. It's Wednesday, October 15th, and we're here with this second fire hardened mulberry, and we're going to see, this is the limb that was a little weak after we were tilling her for a while, and it kind of dropped down. We're going to see if it holds the set. So we're going to start the tillering process one more time. Okay, you can see we're starting with some back set. I'm going to pull it down. We're going to check out the bends. We still have the tillering marks here. I just double checked them. And believe it or not, we still have a nice bend from, even though we fire hardened it. Let's see what we got here. We got an inch, and we got a nice bend. We have a ½ inch here, and this is the problem limb, and we're going to remove some material from the flat spots and try to get it to bend and hope it stays when we get it to bend. We got a flat spot from here to here. Okay, we're going to work on that flat spot and remove a little more material. See how we did. You do something to one limb, the other limb changes a little bit. Still got a great bend here, and we actually have just about 7/8 now. Well, spots did it. We got a pretty nice bend. We got 5/8, and we want the top a little bit more. We want the top a ½ inch more. Because we had the problem in the limb, I'm going to exercise it a little, and I'm going to go down another inch and check it out. Okay, that's 1 more inch. Still got a nice bend going on. And like I said, that's the problem limb. We got 1 1/8 inches. We got 3/4. Got a little positive up top, which is good. But let me look at this here. Now we're going to look for the flat spots. And what we have here is, if you look, we got a bend going on here. And then from here to here, we have a little dip. So just this little section here. And then we're going to come back. Okay, I'm going to exercise it a little, put it down where I had it. This is where I had it. So this is the second time tillering, and that's the problem limb. We're hoping it retains a nice shape. It's a lighter weight bow now than I thought it would be. We got 1 1/8 inches. We got 7/8, and let's look at the bend. We got a more of a bend here. Let me look. It seems to be bending. Let's see. It seems a little stiff on this inner here. Let me see what we got. Seems a little stiff to 8 inches in. Let's see what we got here. And we want it a little stiff at the beginning. I do, because when it's under pressure, it bends a little more. Okay, they're similar. They're good. Okay, we're going to go down another inch because we have a little positive up top. Okay. Remember, as we got down to the point where we can almost put a string on, that's when we had a problem with the limb. Okay, you see me measuring the center here. It's what do we got here? It's just about 1 1/2, okay? And the bend is more important, but this is telling us how much the limb is bending. Okay, quarter more, which is good. It's a quarter more up top. All right, we got to get down to here to put a string on, so we're going to go down 1 more inch. Let's make sure to bend. We see if we see any flat spots. We want to take them off early, but we seem to have a pretty good bend. Actually have 1 3/8. Okay. We have 1 5/8. Okay. So it's looking good. Let's go down 1 more inch. Okay, it looks like 1 7/8, and we got that nice bend. You can see the bend, right? We got 1 1/2. So the top is positive. I'm going to get a string and try and put a string on. Whenever you put a string on, it changes everything. Even though you have the limbs even, a lot of times it's close, but with this bow and the bends and everything, it's not close. We got a really big bend here and hardly any bend there, and we got to make that bottom limb bend a little bit more. So when we look at this, and if you put this up to see how bad the bend is and how bad it's bending and where, it's bending a lot in the middle here. So what we're going to do is we have to remove a little bit. The bottom limb's stiffer. That's why that's narrower and this is more flexible. We have to remove some material from here, from the inner, and get this bending a little more. And this one here, when we look at it, we have to do the same. We have to remove from the inner and then overall. Okay, it's quite a crazy difference. But this limb's stiffer, that limb's weaker, and we got to balance them out. Like I said, this wood's been through a lot, and we're going to try and make it work. See, I'm working on it, and it's getting smaller. I got to reduce a little more material here. And this limb here I got bending. It needs a little more work. It's got to bend all over. We have a 6-inch brace height, 3/8 more on the top. Look at that bump in the back. I don't know if you could see it. You got to look at if you just look at the bottom, and we put the yardstick up. We're going to put the yardstick up and look at it. If you just look at the bend, all right, if you could focus on the bend, we got a pretty nice bend. And right here, it looks like a hump. If you focus on that and not the yardstick, you know, how about that for closer? You see the bend? We got a nice bend. Okay, so let's just go down a little, work it, and we're going to see if that limb, the bottom limb, falls apart again. Let's go down to 20 inches and look at it. Okay, not bad. I'll pull it back a few times, and the top limb is the correct top limb. Pulls into my hand when I pull it back. And that was the end of that. It broke. So that's the end of that adventure. Let's look at it and see if we can figure out why it broke where it did. Let's take a look at the break and see what we could figure out. Okay, if you look, there was a hump here, a knot here. So I fire hardened it and tilled it, and you seen what happened. So sometimes in life, you're the bug, and sometimes you're the windshield. Today I was the bug, and the bow broke. So I'm sure there's a lot of boys out there that they post all these beautiful bows that they make gorgeous, right? And but you never see them post a broken bow, okay? So what I'm doing is showing you the failures and show you, you know, sometimes things happen, sometimes it's a little out of your control, it's the wood. And like I said, always try to get the best piece of wood that you can to start out with for less problems, okay? So that's why I want to show you the failure too, you know? So every day you wake up is a great day. Never give up. Life is short. Make the best out of every day that you can, okay? Thanks for watching.